Hi, I am Magenta with a J, and this is a little touch of weekly color. So I'm recording this tonight because I have gotten a little out of touch with drag thanks to this whole coronavirus quarantine situation. And it's become very hard to get motivated to put on a look and do all that stuff when there's really no place to go. So I am committing myself to get into drag at least once a week, maybe more, and film a video to talk a little bit about what's going on and give a little bit of drag content in this crazy world where you can't go and see a regular drag show. So it's pretty impossible to do this video without talking about the COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak. And obviously that has had a huge impact on everybody, nationally, worldwide, etc. But I want to talk a little bit about how it specifically is affecting the drag community and all of the people that are kind of adjacent to it. So servers, bartenders, clubs, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of my friends right now have been laid off, or if they were depending primarily on drag for their income, that's dried up completely. So very quickly, I'm going to plug something that I worked on with Kikipedia, which is a drag artist directory at supportdrag.com. I'll put it on the screen. And my thinking behind this was, as soon as all these shows started getting canceled, I kept seeing people post Venmo, Cash App links, merch links, etc., trying to find other ways to get some sort of income because all their sources of money just completely dried up very suddenly. So my idea with supportdrag.com was just to make it a little easier to find people and support them, whether that is just following them on various social media platforms or actually sending them money or buying their merch to support them financially. Anything to give them a little bit of a boost right now because they need it. So one of the ways the drag community has been dealing with this is creating a lot more digital content. So Bitch Puddin' had a digital drag show, bringing together a lot of big artists as well as some of our local faves like Violencia, Robin Edges, and Akira Oni. I don't know enough about whether that's actually proving to be a viable income source for people, but it's something. And you can also just, as a viewer, get an opportunity to see some drag performances in this time where you can't go to a club and see one live. There's been lots of other smaller virtual drag shows. I know Gina Tonic in New York City has been playing her ukulele, and House of Oni just hosted one locally in Boston. It's very heartening to see how much people are trying to support each other and lift each other up. Major kudos to all those people that are putting on these shows and the performers, and please send them some coins if you can. I know we're all itching to get back to some semblance of reality where we can perform on stage again for live audiences in front of us. So I'm hoping to do these videos weekly, and what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about some current events type stuff going on and try to boil it down. I got a pretty good response when I did a video talking about the various Democratic primary candidates. And a few people said they liked that it seemed kind of objective. So I want to take a similar approach to talking about the news right now. So, coronavirus. One important step that just occurred, the Senate passed a $2 trillion stimulus bill, which is the largest in history for anything. And the House is about to pass it as well. And a huge part of it, for those of you who are in dire financial situations, you are about to get some money from the government. So if you make up to $75,000 a year, typically, you will be getting a check for $1,200. And if you make up to $99,000 a year, you'll still be getting something, but it will be a smaller amount. People making more than $99,000 will not get a check. And actually, I shouldn't say check because if you've previously filed your taxes using direct deposit, it should directly go into your account, so you don't need to actually do anything. I've heard various estimates about this taking as long as May, but some government officials are saying it should be in less than 3 weeks. So hopefully money will be coming to you. Also, they have expanded unemployment benefits, a huge thing that particularly affects the drag community and people sort of adjacent to that. It is very difficult, if not impossible today, to get unemployment benefits if you are working gigs, basically. You will now be able to get unemployment benefits even if you don't have a regular W-2 providing job. So that's huge. They're also increasing the amount of the unemployment benefits. So if you've been laid off and you need unemployment and you've already applied, I believe that you will just see those amounts go up once all of this gets into action. If you applied and did not get unemployment because you are one of those people that, gets 1099s or does gigs, or maybe you're also an Uber driver or something like that, try again. I don't know exactly when this all goes into effect, but once it does, you should be eligible now to receive unemployment, even if you were told that you weren't before. It's probably not enough for a lot of you, but at least it's something, and there's definitely the possibility that there will be more stimulus packages as this drags on. So while I am going to try to be objective for the most part, I do have to say that President Trump has been saying things that are scaring a lot of people who have a better understanding of this virus than he does. So he is urging this concept of reopening everything by Easter, which is April 12th, which is like 2.5 weeks away. So that seems basically like the worst idea possible, according to literally everyone else that I've heard anything from, particularly scientists, epidemiologists, etc. Because you've probably heard this term by now, flattening the curve. If we get a lot of infections and a lot of people hospitalized and a lot of people dying in a very short amount of time, you overload the hospitals, doctors get sick, there's not enough supplies, there's not enough ventilators, and more people end up dying, the virus spreads faster. It's a really bad situation. However, we can mitigate that by adhering to this stay-at-home stuff and doing the self-quarantine and being very careful. So just be very conscious of the fact that this is not about you individually getting sick. It's about how you getting the virus could potentially affect a lot of people. One other thing that I want to talk about, which I wish I knew the answer to, is how does this whole coronavirus thing affect politics in the presidential election? This whole primary situation is super odd to me right now because I feel like we are witnessing a situation that really underscores why democratic socialist policies like the ones that Bernie Sanders is advocating are helpful and useful for our society. However, the last several primaries, the vast majority of votes have been for Joe Biden. So people were not voting for the person advocating for the policies that are actually most likely to be helpful to us now in this super weird situation that we're in with the coronavirus outbreak. Both economically and health-wise, we would be better off with things like free healthcare for all and a stronger social safety net, which, to be fair, Biden is not exactly right-wing on these issues, but he's certainly not proposing the scale of things that Bernie is. And the other thing, I want to give a shout out to Andrew Yang, who was advocating for universal basic income before he dropped out of the race. Basically saying everybody, regardless of your situation, should get a check each month just to live. And that is basically what is happening, at least for one time period, with this stimulus going on right now. And there's the possibility that there will be more. So we may be enacting universal basic income via this crisis, at least for a temporary period. So here's one situation which I actually think might be possible given how much is uncertain right now about how the rest of the primaries will go. We could get to the convention and end up nominating somebody who's not actually currently running for president, either a candidate who dropped out, or we could have somebody who was a prominent Democratic figure being nominated, particularly if nobody actually has a majority of delegates once the convention arrives. Now, there could be a lot of scenarios where that happens. We could have one of the candidates being sick. We could have a situation where, for some reason, primaries weren't just delayed but canceled, which hopefully does not happen. Basically, if current rules are still in play, they do a first ballot where they total up all of the delegates based on the actual votes from the primaries, and if you don't have a majority then, you go to a second ballot. And this is where people can start to change their votes. And this whole concept of superdelegates, which are individuals in the Democratic Party who are either elected officials or DNC members, suddenly have a lot more power to add their voice. And meanwhile, delegates from states can also change their vote. It's feasible that somebody could end up getting a lot of votes on that second ballot. And one person that I would keep your eye on is Governor Cuomo of New York, because he has sort of started to be the anti-Trump in terms of how this coronavirus outbreak is being handled. He's getting a lot of attention for being very straightforward and honest and direct about what's happening in New York, because New York City in particular is kind of becoming the worldwide epicenter of the worst part of the outbreak. And a lot of people feel like he's projecting exactly the kind of leadership that we need right now. So I don't know what to expect there. I feel like if this continues, there's a possibility that there could be a really strong movement to push him to become the Democratic nominee. And it's through that whole convoluted convention process where it is technically feasible, even though he hasn't been running. I don't know what will happen. I think the likeliest thing is probably Joe Biden will be the nominee, and there will be an attempt to have some semblance of normalcy to the rest of the process. But you never know. Nobody would have predicted that we would be in this position right now, quarantined at home. So in terms of me personally, how I've been coping with this, one thing that I'm super fortunate to have is a job that is not yet directly affected by the coronavirus. Even though I guess I do have more free time, I'm still working, but I'm not going to shows or doing other outwardly social things. I feel like I'm paralyzed a bit, and I don't know what to do with myself. And it's not boredom. It's just like, there's a lot of ideas that I have. I have no shortage of things that I could be doing. It feels like there's a wall stopping me, and my motivation is gone. And I'm realizing just how much I am motivated by going out and being around other people and having, a show that's booked, which leads me to think of a new mix, which makes me want to do a new outfit or order a new wig or do something like that, that keeps me creatively engaged. And once all that external stuff is gone and it's just me and a camera is the most interaction that I can have, it's hard to get energized and excited about that. And I'm hoping that most other people are not experiencing something like that and are able to channel some of this time and energy into stuff that feels more productive. But I know for me, it's just, I don't want to say the word depressing, because I know that depression is a very serious thing, and I don't think I quite have that, but I'm very down about all this, and I think a lot of people are. And it sucks. It really fucking sucks. And hopefully this doesn't last that long. So thanks for watching a little weekly color with me, Magenta with a J. If you don't already, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And let me know if this was interesting or there's any other topics worth covering, because I really would like to keep doing this every week to stay in touch with drag and put something out there content-wise that is maybe interesting or entertaining. Well, we're in a world where there are no drag shows to go to at bars and clubs. So let me know what you think, and thank you for watching. Bye.